You guys have had one session already, and it sounds like you guys have kind of been breezing through the material. You guys are doing awesome. If you are, this is your first time, if you missed session 1, couple of housekeeping items. We have a training hub, actually, maybe by show of hands, because everybody looks familiar. Did anybody miss session 1? No, I'm not going to go into it then. You guys have jumped ahead, so technically you guys are already on session 3. I am going to print those activity guides because I was not prepared for that. So the ones that you guys have are activity guides for material that you covered in the first session, which is totally fine. Hold on to those. I'll get session 3 printed and we'll make sure we get those handed out. And any questions about training or access? Does anyone hear the meeting invite coming out of their computer? If you have your Teams, remember your Teams meeting is on that bottom mobile screen. It should show no sound. Should be like off. Is it this one? No. And you can see it too. Oh, yeah. All right. If you hear echo coming from a computer near you, raise your hand and we'll have a student come by and check it out. We're going to get started. I'll go print those activity guides. If you guys do have questions about security, you run across something in the training today or from before that you have issues with security, fill out a QR code. We'll check. Can I hear it too? Yes. I'll come check these computers here in a second. Fill out the QR code and we'll reach back out to you and your business partner to make sure you guys have what you need. In the meantime, we've had a few people who are kind of frustrated that they can't see everything that they would normally see. Please remember, this is a training tenant. It's not filled out with up-to-date data. It's as of April. There are very few staged items in there. So like the endowment, well, you guys don't have endowments and grants. The credit card transactions, credit cards that are built in people's names, all of that is being done by hand. And so it's like one-offs. You won't be able to see everything that's active in PeopleSoft today. Does that kind of make sense? Hopefully you should have it like an example. And if you don't have like a single example in there, fill out the QR code, we'll reach out and we'll try to get one built in the system for you. But you won't be able to see everything. Some people will because they've been testing in the tenants for a long, long time. So questions, fill out the QR code. There's a text box now that you can go into and like kind of tell us what issue you have, and we'll work on the back end to get that up. So, okay, we're going to turn the time over to Tema.
Thank you, Lindsay.
We'll check both sides.
Sing into the microphone. I was gonna say, yeah, I wish I had an awesome voice. I can, but.
Keep talking, Tema.
All right. Before we begin, we have this safe harbor statement. So you all remember that things that we see may be subject to change prior to go live. If configuration is updated, you will be provided with updated training content. And just a reminder, we all have access to the Training Hub website, which is workday.bou.edu. We can go on it, and so we can, revisit the training that we go through, in these sessions. There's also the activity guides. There's a link to the activity guides there, so you can, the ones that, the handout that we're going to receive, that we also received last training, you can, print it out, because remember that the assessment is open notes, open book. So if you want it, you can print out the activity guide as another resource as you take the assessment. But, I would strongly suggest that once we're done with the training, today's training, you go back and just go through the activity guide on your own, and that's extra practice. And obviously, you know, we have to, in order to do that, you need to log into the BYU Workday site. And today we're going to talk about business assets. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't know who's going to be, you know, maybe there's going to be a few of us that will enter assets in the system. But the reason why we're going over this is because some of us will need to be able to pull the asset listing, specifically for depreciation expense and that kind of thing. And we're going to go over that. A business asset, which is a trackable asset. What is that? That is anything over the capital spend threshold of $5,000, as well as anything else the university has decided to track. Example given, computers, which is something kind of new, right? Because we don't think of computers as a capital asset or a business asset, but actually we're gonna do that. Just 1 second here. Yes, so that is the definition of an asset, a trackable asset. See, and when we purchase an item that may become a trackable asset, it is critical to select a trackable spend category. So you remember that now. Well, in Workday, we also will be able to select a spend category for any acquisition or requisition that we make. Same thing here. But it is critical that if we want the asset that we are acquiring to be a trackable asset, we have to make sure that we select the correct trackable spend category, as we can see here. Because if we don't select the trackable spend category, the asset will not be tracked, and we won't be able to keep track of the depreciation. So here we have, you know, a few examples of a spend category, whether it's trackable or not. So in this example, we see that all of those are no, right? So, for instance, research carryover, that wouldn't be trackable, that kind of thing. Let's see. And I'll show you how we can make sure that when we're selecting the spend category, if we want it to be trackable, how we can select the correct spend category. This is an example where we can, when we are selecting the spend category, whether it's going to be trackable. As we see that in that red box, track item, yes. So that would mean that it is trackable. Now there are 3 asset reports that we can pull, and we're going to go over all of them. Well, at least 2, because I don't have access to the third one. The first one is the extract spend categories, where we can view all spend categories, and we can filter to show only trackable spend categories. The second one is the asset report finance business partners, and I'll show you that as well. And that is a report where you can see all of the assets and various fields, or excuse me, work tags in that report. And then if any of you have direct reports, there's also a report that you can view that will show you the assets of your direct reports. Let's talk about the asset report finance business partners. And And I'll show you how to pull the report. But this is just a screenshot of the filters. So once we pull, if we go to the search bar and type asset report finance business partners, we'll see this window pop up, and there are a few filters that are already pre-populated, such as the company, the asset book, and the asset status. And for the most part, pretty much all of us will see the company as Brigham Young University. There's only a few of us that will have access to other companies, but for the most part, it'll be BYU. The asset book, that's the pre-populated filter is primary. There's another one that is the tax book, but that's only for general accounting, and none of us will ever have to select that. That's why it's pre-populated. And then the asset status, and that is in service and issued, the asset that we want to pull. At the bottom, we see cost center and cost center hierarchies. We can those are also pre-populated, but we can actually select the cost center. If we want, and we can actually select multiple cost centers depending on what type of assets we want to look or pull. Let's see. It's different. So this is an example of that asset report, finance business partner report. And as you can see, you will have if I'm going across, we have the business assets, the tag number, the asset name, the description, the work tags, the spend category. So notice how on the first one, we have equipment not otherwise specified, asset track. So that means that asset is being tracked. Let's see. Let me stop here. There might be a few questions, but I'm gonna go again. I'll show you how to pull. We'll do it together. Any questions so far? No? All right. The other one is my direct reports assets. Again, if any of you has direct reports, you will be able to see the assets that had been issued to them. And I don't know if that applies to any of you here, but to me that doesn't apply. I don't think it does. But so you'll be able to see those assets. Again, if you go to the main screen in Workday and you type my direct reports assets in the search bar, this little window will pop up, and then you can select the direct report, and you can see their assets. Right. And then the asset statuses. There's 4 asset statuses that we can see in those asset reports. The first one was in service. The definition is that is an asset that is active, but it hasn't been issued to an employee yet. Issued, as you can deduct, it's an asset that is active and has been issued to an employee. Registered. Asset has not yet been issued or placed in service, and it's a depreciable capital asset that is not accumulating depreciation. And finally, in progress, any asset that has not been registered and it's in review with asset manager from a project or supplier invoice. And maybe, some of you know, I'm new here, and so I'm still, I was still learning the other business object system. So I don't know some of these statuses. Maybe they're transferring over from the old system to the new system. Is that the case? I don't know. Maybe not. Does everybody know? Does everybody care? Okay.
But I don't know.
Yes.
I think those are all new.
Those are new? Okay. All right. Perfect. And lastly, another report, well, this not a report, it's just a view that you can view your asset, the assets that have been assigned to you, which by the way, I don't think is working right now. Eventually it'll work. Maybe it works for some of you, but for me it didn't. And I'll show you how to do that. But if you go to, and I can walk you through quickly. If you go to Workday, and then you'll see your picture or your profile. You click View Profile, and then it'll pull this menu that is off to the left. And then if you scroll all the way down to Company Property, you'll be able to see, for instance, if you have a computer, which all of us do have a computer, you will be able to see that computer there. But again, I don't think that's working yet. Let's see. All right, so now we're gonna show you how to pull this report, specifically the asset report finance business partner.
All of the dining customers, so you can check, so let's say we want to see asking for festival or for a candy. Just check on those, you can check them all. Just for illustration purposes, keep it simple. So, yeah, and this, you can scroll horizontally to see more of this stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, if you scroll over here to the right, I think. Okay, so like here, it's a depreciation schedule. And then here's the assets.
It's not working. Okay. So this is what we'll do. I don't want to do this, but left with no choice. Let me. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. Yeah, let's do it. Oh my goodness, what's going on? Nothing. I don't even know why there's echo because it was completely turned. You know,
the
the
sound
audio
was off?
Yeah,
Oh.
as well as my mic was mute.
That's weird.
That's weird, right?
It sounds like it fixed.
Yeah, well, because I left the meeting, and I wonder if I can.
Yeah, but what does in-service mean? Like there's issued in-service, what does in-service mean? Do you remember?
In service, yes. In service means that it's active, but it hasn't been issued to an employee yet.
Okay.
Yes, just 1 second. I'm trying to figure out how to pull. Ah, it's not good. And I don't even know.
Actually, this is probably set up so we're
I'm gonna try this again. Is that working? Yeah, I think it's working finally. All right.
Do you need to start the record again?
I don't think so. I haven't stopped the recording.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you were getting in and out of.
Yeah, no. All right. So I'll show you this assets report business a finance business partner. So if you go to, so this is so again, if we go to workday.byu.edu and sign in, this is the landing page, right? Is anybody there? Does anybody need help getting there? No? All right.
We're in 11?
11, yes.
Okay.
And then here on the search bar, we can type assets, reports, finance business partner. And this is the filters. And as I was mentioning earlier, the company asset book and asset status are pre-populated, as well as here at the bottom, the depreciable capital asset is already there. And if you want to look at a specific cost center or cost center hierarchy, you're able to do so here. But I guess we can select one. So if I go, I don't even know. Let's see what I have access to. Let's see, Jerusalem Center. Let's see. So I'll select that. Let's see if I do have access to it or not. I think it's working. Yep, perfect. So this is a report that we pulled. And you see that we have the business asset, the tag, the asset name, the description, the word tags. And then if we scroll to the right, we see the spend category, buildings. Let's see if there's one here. Look, this one here, mixer food, whatever that is, equipment not otherwise specified as asset that's been tracked. We all see that? Perfect. Because, this is another example. This is a building that for some reason is not being tracked. Note, any asset that is on the books as of January 1st, 2025 is going to come active as of January 1st, 2025 will come over. That is active. So that's why we see the building here that was put in service back in '89. So that's why it's still active. So that's why it's there. Let's see. Any questions? It's pretty straightforward, isn't it? All right. The other one is, again, I don't have direct reports, so I wouldn't be able to show you anything, but maybe I can show you your own assets. And then if you go, so I'm on the landing page in Workday. This is my profile, awesome picture here. If I go to view profile, and then now I mentioned to you that I don't have that yet. Maybe some of you do, but here you should be able to see company property. If you do, great. If not, don't worry about it. This is still, being developed. All right. And maybe I can show you quickly how to, when we are purchasing an asset, that we can select the correct spend category that it should be, that if we want to track that asset, how to make sure that it's being tracked. So if we go, and some of you already, we went over this last session. So if there's a couple ways we have to do a requisition, right? So we can either type it in the search box, right? Requisition, create requisition, or we can go to the menu here and go to requisitions. And if I go here, I'm gonna do one quickly, non-catalog items. here. So let's say, we want to buy a computer, right? Because that's a trackable asset now. Computer purchase. And then here, the spend category, work tag, computer. Notice that we have computer hardware inventory and bingo, computer hardware asset track. So this is the spend category that we would need to select if we wanted to track these assets. Is that any questions about that?
What report did you open up?
Excellent. So if we want to make a purchase, right? So we can either go to the menu here if it's already there, the requisitions, or if you don't have it there yet, you can go to the search bar and just type requisition, create requisition. And then once you are on that main page, there's a few ways that you can get to that requisition. The best one is, at least for me, is this request a non-category item. Because remember that, maybe we didn't go over this, but we have access, and this, I'm going off a tangent here, but remember that some of you, right, will have access to the Staples, for instance. You can make an acquisition directly on the Staples website. So that's a supplier website here. But in this case, I selected the request non-catalog items. So I click on that, and then I type in my description, and then the spend category right here. So in my example, I was purchasing a computer. So the spend category would be computer. And then, so I have, 3 options here. Computer services, we don't want that. Computer hardware inventory, we might think that we want that, but no, because if we, again, the key is, if we want to track the asset, we have to select the asset track, right? You see the difference here? Questions?
But that asset track is only going to be there if you click the box previous, right?
No.
No, okay.
No. So again, so if we're buying, let's say, I don't know, something other than a computer that is over $5,000, right? Remember, because if we want to capitalize the assets, 2 things. Well, I guess 1 thing. The threshold is $5,000. Anything above $5,000, we can capitalize, meaning that we can put it on the books, right? And keep and track the depreciation, right? This is the reason why we're doing this. And so let's say that we're buying, I don't know, a huge piece of furniture. It's $10,000, right? So we have to, because it's over the threshold of $5,000, we have to capitalize it, right? And so if I go here, let's see, furniture. No, I don't know what would be. But let's say, that there's a category that is furniture. We will need to select the spend category that also says track asset. Because if we don't, then once we go through the acquisition process, we purchase it, we receive it, it won't be tracked.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. And I think that's it. Yeah. All right. And do we have the handouts or no? Yes. Oh yeah, here. Perfect. All right. So I already showed you the the asset report finance business partners, so we're good. And, oh, I guess, I thought that we were gonna be able to, play. I don't know, you all wanna play with that on your own for a few minutes?
Yes, we.
All right,
Wait, which one are we playing with?
the asset report that I show you, that's a report. Finance, should I show you that again, just to make sure that we got it or no?
So we have to create the asset, the trackable asset before we can go in and actually play with the
Yeah, if we
reports,
don't-
right?
Man, I did a poor job. No, not at all. No. So the asset report, that's just a report that you can pull to see any asset
Okay.
in the university, any asset. So for instance, if what department are you in?
Physical facilities.
So in physical facilities, if you select the cost center, you should be able to see all of the assets
Oh,
that
that
are.
makes sense.
Yes, yes.
So what you were just showing us though is to see whether or not, an asset was trackable. You were
What-
trying to show us where to see it, right?
I was showing you that if you make a purchase,
Right,
and if you want that asset to be tracked, you have to select the correct spend category that says track asset. Because if you don't, then once you make the purchase and you receive the piece of equipment, whatever, then it won't be tracked.
Okay.
So when we pull the asset, when you go and pull the asset report, it won't show as being tracked. It'll show there, but it won't show as being tracked, and therefore we won't be tracking depreciation and that kind of thing. Any other questions? No? Why? Huh. Do I need to?
Where if the definitions for issued,
Yes,
active.
absolutely, absolutely.
And where do you click to be tracked? Is that when you order it through a requisition?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm here to answer any questions. Yes. Yeah, so let's say that you buy the computer. And then it's basically you have to type in computer as an example. Yes. That way, now we're gonna track that. Right. Good question. Questions? No? Yes. Yep. No, that is the historical cost. When it was first built back in. No, this is all back in 77, so that's all. But this is just, yep. Let me ask, what do you think? Remember, so this was put in place back in '77. What do you think the accumulated depreciation is? Great question. Because remember, so why are we doing this? So that we can go track the depreciation, right? So every year we depreciate it, right? So at some point, what's going to happen to the asset, right? That is why it is completely depreciated.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Because, yeah. No, excellent question.
I don't even know how to say it.
I'll tell you, I know what you're trying to say. Remember that the balance sheet only keeps track of the historical costs. Not the fair value or the current value. That's something, okay, you will never see, well, I shouldn't say that, but on a balance sheet, when you see the historical costs, the accumulated depreciation, you want it to see what the fair value is. Okay. But it will be, most likely you will see that. Sometimes you do, that's when you go to an acquisition and put it on the books at fair value.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Good. We've gotten our.
Questions? No? Yes.
What's your,
Yes, yes. No, yeah, I'm still learning to do, I don't know. Already that's, now, are you able to do the asset report? Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, no, but this is the, I don't know, you make questions? Okay, very good. So remember that the correction is $5,000. Have to keep track, right? So this is yeah. All right. Yes.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, they. Easy math.
Okay. All right, y'all. Any more questions? So we can move on? No? All right. Whoever's next. Jason,
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to projects. Everyone ready for that? OIT? All right. So by raise of hands, who in this group knows they're gonna be using projects at Go Live? So we've got OIT and physical facilities. Want to? Yeah. Okay, so we are not going to do a deep dive into projects just because at the beginning, not everyone's going to be using projects. And if you do use projects, that's about a 10-hour meeting we need to have. So.
Okay, I got you down, Troy. Thank you. I'll check it off now. I'm good. And you too, Bob. Thanks.
Did you have something?
I just wondered, I didn't see the hands on projects over on this side.
Just physical
So,
facilities.
okay. We don't have anybody from broadcasting here?
We don't.
Okay, they're in another group, so.
No, they are in our group. They're just not here today.
Oh, I see. So you've got them as well. They're gonna be big-time project users, just like you guys, so, and physical facilities. So,
And then fine arts is the other one.
yeah. So you've been in those meetings, so. Okay. All right. The only thing I'm worried about, I'm gonna pop in and out, Jason, but, just questions that need to be answered, and if you need, questions, write the questions down or have somebody do it.
Okay.
We'll see if we can't resolve them, so.
Okay.
We already know we need to have a separate meeting about projects, and we'll sit down and just take a project from one end to the other, all the way through. I'm sure Matt's already done that with you guys, but to do it with the procurement side as well. So that, I don't know if he's tried to do that or not, so that makes sense. So, okay.
Okay. So, going to this slide right here, there's a little bit of false doctrine on this slide. It depends on who you are, which team you are. So this first point we have, if you have a role in Workday projects, it will be mainly around approving spending. So if you are using projects, that is not true. If you are not using projects, it really depends on what your role on a project is. So for OIT and physical facilities, you ignore that because you're going to be much more involved in maintaining projects. Every project will be assigned to a cost center and possibly an activity. You'll notice what's missing there. You can't assign a grant and you can't assign a gift to a project. So it has to be an activity or a cost center. You can also use class. So classes can be on projects, and also another work tag is location. You can put a location on a project. And then it says here we'll continue to develop projects. There's only four or five major groups that are using projects. That's OIT, physical facilities, fine arts, BYUB, and continuing ed. But as you guys are wanting to come on board, that's an area that's going to expand. So I want to just give a kind of a brief overview of why you would want to use a project and what they're really for. So if you have a project or something you're doing in your area that requires project management, if you want to report labor, time reporting, plus goods, services, procurement, other things you're booking, a project can be a powerful tool because it provides a lot of reporting. What I would say is if you don't have all of that, it becomes a lot easier just to use an activity or a cost center. If you really don't need all the functionality of a project, there's a lot of maintenance that goes into a project. You have to close it, you have to create it, maintain it, and then close it out. So if you can avoid a project, if you really don't need it, that's the way to go. But if you do need that functionality, then a project's a great thing. Any questions about that? Hosted conferences. Who, by show of hands, who today has operating units that start with HC? Does anybody in this group? Athletics does. You have one? Okay. So this is an area that central finance has set up in projects. So you'll notice if you go into projects, there's a hierarchy called hosted conferences. I guess it really depends on what your hosted conference is doing, but if you can, I would avoid a project. If you really don't need to do time reporting and some of that other stuff that goes into a project. Okay, charging to a project, it's really simple. It's just like any other driver work tag. A project is a driver work tag. So when you create a project, you assign a cost center, you assign an activity, and then when you go looking here at our purchase rec and our expense reports, you just plug that project into the project line, and it fills out the other driving work tags. So the cost center, the fund, location, program, whatever you have on that project. Same thing for expense reports. The thing that changes here, and I don't know if we have a slide on this. I don't think we do. Instead of following the normal review path, so going to a spend approver and then a finance reviewer, it's just going to go to the project manager. So the project manager is a role on the project. You want to assign somebody that knows finance, so not a traditional project manager. You want your finance people as a project manager on the project so that they can approve those finances that are coming through. We had in OIT, we had to wrap our heads around that because traditionally a project manager is the person doing all the work. In Workday, a project manager is the person managing all the finances.
We have more than one project manager.
You can, yep. Yeah, so that's a good point. In OIT, what we've decided to do is we're assigning our entire finance team as a project manager on all of our projects so that anybody can approve those expenses as they come through. Okay, not to get into too much detail here, but you can put a budget on a project. And when we talk project budgets, it's completely different from the financial budget. So they don't talk to each other. So you can't do a budget transfer from a project to your operational budget and vice versa. They don't, they're completely separate ideas in Workday, and they don't, like I said, they don't speak to each other. And one other thing to point out, instead of calling them project budgets, for whatever reason, they call them plans. And so when you're looking at a project, you go to the financials tab and click on plan, and then you can create your budget. As you go throughout the project, you have different statuses. So you'll notice on the right side of the screen, you've got this project is in process, but then you've also got some statuses of paused, late, pre-approval, project work complete, ready to close. And then there's the two last ones on the top. Those are just for central finance. They're the ones that close them out or mark them as frozen. But all the others we can use in the groups. There are also, so OIT and physical facilities have already set this up, but if you go into projects, you can set up business rules around these statuses. So you can say, if I mark a project in the paused status, I don't want any transactions to be able to hit against my project during that time. So you can set rules up like that. Same with labor. You can say I don't want any labor if I'm in the pre-approval state. But once you hit closed or frozen, you're not able to edit that project anymore without going to central finance to have them do it for you. Any questions about that? All right. Lindsay or Sean here? I don't think they are. So if I unplug this HDMI and plug it into mine, you should be able to see it here, right? But not on your computers. So I think
you're gonna be able to. What I would do is I would share my screen here, and then you can.
I'm not in the meeting though.
Yeah, I can add you to the meeting. Because that's what Lindsay suggested that we do.
I think the reason there's no You'll notice there's no activity guide for projects. I think it's because of the access. Access on projects is,
Is that you?
yep, or no, sorry, Jason Alphen, the top one. So access is based on hierarchies within groups, and most groups don't have projects right now. So we'll just have to walk through one together.
Looks good.
I should go to Tribe and we can see what he's doing. Yep, perfect.
Okay. So here, you can all see that on your screens, right? Yep. So if I want to search for a project, as you guys have been able to tell, there's multiple ways to get to things in Workday. So one thing, the way I usually get to projects is if I know the name of the project, I just type it in the search bar. So let's see, I want to get to the BYU Idaho switch upgrade project. Just type it in here and it pops up for me. Another way to get to it is if you just go view project. It'll pop up here. And I can either select it by project group, hierarchy, or just all projects. And what I like to do is just go to hierarchy. And then you'll notice I can see all the projects. I don't know if this is, I don't know, Gary, do you remember if this is all going to go away? Or are we just going to see our own? When we go live?
Yeah, just by the security rule, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so right now my security's too much, so I see everybody's. But I should just eventually only see OITs. So if I go to department, whoop, hate not having a mouse. Or I can just type it in here. Okay. So once I'm in the project here, you'll notice it starts with just some header information. So you've got a spot for a project owner, a process, you've got descriptions, dates, start and end dates, project hierarchy. So you can kind of, if you have multiple kinds of projects in your organization, you can stack those. You can have a parent that rolls down to various children, which is what we've elected to do. Your project ID is going to start with PJ. It's just another work tag that's created. And then down here, this is where you assign your cost center, fund, program, etc. You will notice, and I'm not sure when they're planning to take this off, but you can't actually use grants and gifts like we talked about, but there's still options on here for some reason. Eventually, I'm hoping they take those off. And then you can use the assignee. Assignee is the one I forgot to talk about. So if you have an assignee, you can assign that to the project as well. The
assignee, who would that be?
We're not really using assignees, so I've kind of plugged my ears when they talk about assignees.
Okay.
Anyone want to explain the assignees? It's based on people. So I think everybody has an assignee, and it's based off your employee number.
Yeah, it's just like a trackable, like a class trackable thing, but it is to specific individuals. We're not doing it either. But.
I think it replaces the Fund 20s, if I remember right, today. So faculty have their own accounts. You going over here, the resource tab, this is where you would add people to the project. So if you want only, if you have 2 people working on this project, you only want those 2 people to report time, you would add them here. It's a requirement in Workday, so if you don't put anybody on the resource tab, nobody can work on this project.
Can I ask a question
Yeah.
you may or may not know? I'm just trying to fill out. So if we, let's say we assign an individual in our office as the assignee that oversees kind of or whatever. Can we also assign a faculty member that is working on the same thing? Or do they have to be within our department? Can we add a faculty member as somebody who can work on the project?
You should be able to add as many, yeah, that's the purpose of the resource.
That are outside of our department and everything?
I don't know if they're outside your department. Well, I don't see anything that would prevent that, though.
Yeah, I think it's through that talent pool functionality, right? Like you
Yeah.
can call out specific people. So
You can either call out specific people, or you can create different pools like Gary's talking about, where you have a pool of people that are allowed to report to that project.
All right, thank you.
Project plan, this is where you would go to project manage. So you add tasks to your project. So if let's say I'm doing a switch upgrade in the Crabtree, and I want to do that based on floor. So I might have one task for the first floor, one task for the second floor, one for the third floor. As an employee, when I go to report my time, I have to report down to that task level. So I have to know which floor I'm working on. I go and report at that level. And then financials. This one is still being built out. It's really messy right now. So we're not even going to try to go into this. But eventually, you will be able to see project information, all the expense detail on your project in here. And if you scroll down here, there's like a pie chart that shows up right here if I had expenses on this project. So it shows you what kind of expenses. I've got this amount of labor, I've got this much in expense reports, this much in POs, etc. Had a question over here?
Is the intent to be similar to, from the OIT side, how we're funding the projects and someone's going in there and putting that money in there and approving that? Is that going to have similar functionality, do you know at this point?
So are you asking about funding?
Like, they go create a project, and then often we'll go and we'll say there's a project created, but it hasn't necessarily had any money or funding approved or applied to it yet. We'll run into that. What do we know at this point about that?
Yeah, so Trevor's asking about how do you fund a project, and my answer to that is it really depends on the area. You have to establish your own processes, but once you create the project, you have to create a project plan. Excuse me, not a project. See, I'm getting the terms mixed up now. A project plan is tasks, like we said. If I come over here, you will see there's a financials plan. So when I am ready to fund my project, I would come over here and hit create budget. I would create the budget, and then I would add an amount to that budget. So it's two steps. You create the shell of a budget, and then you add an amount to that budget. And this is not Workday's finest hour right here. This is a very involved budget process. Yeah.
Guys, one more. So I see that the plan currency is currently USD, and I don't see where there's a drop down. Can that be changed to other currencies? Euro?
Yes. So the reason it's USD for me is you have to establish a project plan template. Or excuse me, a project financial plan template that defaults some of your values.
And as you've seen that, can you have multiple currencies in one plan?
No, but you can create two different plans. So you would have you would want to establish two different hierarchies because you map the plan to the hierarchy. So if I had a USD hierarchy and a Canadian dollar hierarchy, I could do two different plans there.
Okay, so we have to do all.
Does that answer that question?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's pretty much it for projects, unless I'm missing anything. Anyone in OIT, physical facilities, did I miss something big? Any questions anyone else has?
Hey, Jason?
Yeah.
I have one quick question.
Yep.
So I know we have OIT and physical facilities that do a lot of projects for us. So they're going to be tracking all their projects in here. You'll be able to review those, right?
Yes.
And you'll be able to see costs and maybe some more detail into what's.
You should actually see more detail than you do today. At least I know with OIT, you just get a monthly bill.
Yes.
You don't really see any of the detail.
Yes.
In Workday, if I go back to the work tags here, this cost center for athletics projects is going to be your cost center. And so these expenses, as they come through, they're going to go right to your income statement. And so you'll be able to, you can either see them on a transaction level, or I'm assuming they're going to create a project reporting, so you can just see, I want to only see my switch upgrade project or my wireless network project, whatever, however you want to see that.
Thank you.
Okay. We good? Okay, I think that is it for session 3. So we want to start session 4, since we still got time?
Yeah.
Think that's consensus?
Will we have the papers or? Later.
Let me go ask. Yeah, let's do that.
So do we need activity 4 printed out then?
Yeah.
I'll go
Do you wanna
find
see if we
Lindsay.
can find Lindsay? Her office is way down at the end of the hall.
Okay, how did you get into sharing stuff?
That's the question. Okay, let me see if I can stop sharing. I'll leave. I'll try to add you here.
Oh, people seem promising. Oh, yeah.
What? Is your computer on your sound up?
No.
Yeah, I just requested you, so you should get a call. Oh, yeah, sorry, forgot to tell everyone, we need to fill out the survey for session 3, so they know we were here to check in.
On the workday.byu.edu and the little training hub, it's like, hey, did you come? These are hovered. Do you feel confident? That little ditty.
Yeah, so Lindsay got us 3. Scratching in 4 just so we don't have to meet as many times, because they don't think they can get us 4 today.
Oh, that's fine.
Because
I
we're
think we
moving
can
too
keep
fast
going.
is what he's saying. He said we're too good to
Yeah,
slow down.
you really are too good that we didn't print the guides, but we can put them on the website for everyone.
Okay, yeah,
to
let's
look
do
at.
that.
Can you post it? You said you can post it on.
I can post it right in the next 5 minutes.
So
Perfect.
if we
That's
can
great.
get it posted, then we can just have everyone look at it that way. Okay.
That
And then
sounds
are we
great.
done?
That's
Okay.
why we.
So how long will you?
Not too. I mean,
Not that is, but.
probably. Yeah, 15, 20
Okay,
minutes.
all right. A what question?
When I'm reading these, we looked at that.
Temo, we got a question over here on your presentation. I'm throwing it back on him.
Okay, sorry, Temple.
No worries. I did.
I'm just,
We didn't go over any of this.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yes, no?
It was great. I mean, we looked at what they said.
Yeah, but that's not even,
not-
yeah, it's not even, I don't know, yeah.
Okay, I'm glad it's not.
Is the person who does,
I don't think so.
you know the older gentleman who works in projects and he creates them, is he still here?
No, I don't know.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
On the
Well,
agenda.
yeah,
Like in today's world?
No, Who's the, do you know who's over projects? The guy that, you know, the older guy that was up here talking before?
Oh, Ed
started-
McCracken?
Is he, yeah, where is he? Is he in here still or did he leave?
No, he left. His office is
Oh.
over here, but yeah, Ed was the one talking
I wanted
to
to ask
Jason
if he could
before.
just like, if we could try one, like if he could.
Go to his
Should I see if
office
he's
down the
there?
hall. His
I'll go see if
office,
he's there.
I think halfway, 3/4 down on the left. Or right, I can't. Just walk down the hall. Left and then right. Going here. Good.
Check in like once.
No, I think we're waiting for Sean to get the activity guide up on Teams. So, because we're waiting.
Yeah, should I just go ahead and get started? Let's see where we're on my check-in. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. If you're working on your check-in still, that's fine. So we're moving into financial accounting. You can't hear me? How come? Oh.
I think everyone just makes it quiet.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna start and hopefully you can hear me. So this is the financial accounting training. So in Workday, they have what they call operational journals, but you won't ever make one of those. That's just what they call the accounting impact from things like invoices or payments or sending an invoice out to a customer or deposit or put away for the inventory people. When you create one of those transactions, it creates a journal on the back end based on account posting rules. So you won't ever make one of these by hand. It's just to distinguish that from manual or accounting journals. These are the ones that you will manually make. So this is a lot like what we make in PeopleSoft today, are these manual entries. Okay, so then, do you want me to go through the screenshots and then we can make one, or do you want me just to like make one on the fly and you can follow along? How do we learn best? Do you want to see these screenshots of how to make one and then make one, or do you want to just watch me make one and then you can make one?
Yes, let's practice over it.
Just make one live. Okay.
Can you hide the participants and go full screen for us?
Yes. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so in the search bar in Workday, I'm going to type create journal. And then when you click into there, it's going to bring you to this screen. This top portion, or what you can see right now, is like the header of the journal entry. So this isn't for your lines, this is just the header information that we're going to put in. So when you click on Ledger, it's going to bring up a lot of options. And really the only one that you're probably ever going to use is this Brigham Young University Actuals. So there's a commitments ledger and an obligation ledger as well, but you won't ever make journal entries in those. You'll just make journal entries in the actuals, and then you can see like the other, like the LTD and the alumni LLC. You won't make entries in those either unless you are one of those groups. But so we're just Brigham Young University Actuals. And then you'll pick the day that you need to make your journal entry. And journal source, this is something that's changing. So today everyone has their own journal source number. In the future, we will all be JE Campus is the one that you will use. So when you click into here, you'll see a bunch of options, and I don't know if those options will be there after we go live for us to see, but going forward, you'll just be JE Campus. If I can spell, not compass.
Hey Whitney, one thing we might want to point out is some
Yeah.
groups may see their name in those integration sources.
Uh-huh.
You don't want to choose those as a manual entry?
Yes, so the ones that start with INT, those are for integrations, like from subsystem feeds, if I am understanding that right, and you don't want to make a manual entry using that source.
So even if it says INT dining and you work in dining, you don't want to select that one.
Right.
That's just for your subsystem.
Right, so if you are making a manual journal entry in Workday, you will pick JE Campus. Okay, this balancing fund, we do need to fill that out, but I usually wait until I fill out my lines and use the recommendation is to use the fund from the debit of your journal entry, or if you're using the Fund 01, they want you to use that one. So we'll just come back and fill this balancing fund in. The book code, you don't need to worry about that. You'll always work in Common Book, but if you leave it blank, it will default to Common Book. So we'll leave that alone. And then memo, you can put whatever description that you would normally put in your header. So whatever is helpful for you for either finding it or the reason why you're making your journal entry. This is your header memo. So I'm just gonna say I'm moving some shirts. And then the external reference ID, that one, technically you can put whatever you want in there. However, their ask is that you do your net ID, the year, the month, the day, and then whatever you want. So if you were like doing several, so I could put my net ID, the year, the month, and then the day, and then maybe I'm making multiple journal entries or something, and so I'm going to put 01.
Hey Whitney, question on that.
Yeah.
And not trying to be facetious, but what benefit do we gain by putting that external reference in there? When you can just look up on a report, I can say I want to see everything I created.
Yeah.
I can say on this date.
I agree with you. I think it's like another way to search, and I don't know if it's helpful for financial services to have it like organized that way, but honestly I don't know the answer to that question.
I
But
think it also helps from duplication of journal entries, so it allows you to track it a little bit better. So
just to have another data point, I guess. But okay, so then all of these check boxes, like the record quantity all the way down to reversal date, you don't need to worry about those. Primarily financial services is who will use that, so I just wouldn't worry about it. And this control total, you don't need to worry about that either. And then we'll hit continue. When you hit continue, it's going to bring up, these are your journal lines. So from here, so this is a funky thing about the entry. We do have to put in the account and the spend category, and it will let you submit a mismatch, and it will only give you an alert instead of an error. So that would be something to watch as you're submitting a journal entry, and then also as approving journal entries, because it will let you do a mismatch account and spend category, because you have to manually enter both of them. So I'm going to move my shirts, and I know that that's under materials. And then obviously you'll need a debit and a credit, and your journal will need to balance. That's just normal life. So I'm going to move $47 worth of shirts. This memo is your journal line memo, so whatever you want to describe there. This external reference ID, this is kind of like on the PeopleSoft journal entry template that we have now. On the side, it has that extra ID on the line level. This is basically that same function, so it's not required. If that's something that you use to like organize your data today, you could utilize it, but it's not required. This budget date will default to whatever accounting date you put in the header. So if for whatever reason you need that to be different, I think that's mostly like an awards and grants thing that they use these budget dates, but I'm not sure. So if you don't need it, then I think the default is fine. And so then, like we talked about, you do need to pick a spend category as well. And if you're making a revenue entry, then you would need to pick a revenue category. Obviously, on the same line, you wouldn't pick a spend category and a revenue category. So you just do one or the other depending on the kind of journal entry that you're making. So then I'm moving my shirts, so I'm going to pick clothing for my spend category. And then just like a helpful tidbit. So the spend category, if you don't know what account you need to pick, but you know the spend category, you could fill in the spend category first. And then do you see how it says SC61? Those first two numbers tell you what account it's going to roll up to. So if you need to pick your spend category first and then your account, then that's helpful. So that you don't get a mismatch. And then this is where we're going to pick our driver work tags here. So if you have any of these, I'm going to use a cost center as my driver work tag.
I can't get it to create journals.
That's a rights issue, and I think they used to have like I think it's this QR code right here. Oh, the one on your monitor. So if you scan that and just let them know you don't have access.
Oh, you can collapse and then it can extend.
Okay. When would you do the mismatch?
When would it give you that error?
When you hit submit. So if I had like audio visual as my spend category, and then I had like,
It's not giving me.
Oh,
yeah, it's when you hit submit, you'll get the yellow alert, but it will still let you submit it. So maybe like you need to correct something, and you're like, I know that these don't match, and that's why I'm making this journal entry. Then that you could still submit it. And then this intra-campus transactions. So right now we have like 6100 and 6110 if you're recording something between for those intra-campus transactions. So we won't do that anymore. Instead, if this was an intra-campus transaction, I would just mark it as yes. Otherwise, I can leave it blank. And I think that's it that I wanted to talk about.
Did the slides get into why we have that checkbox at the very right? I think excluded from recording.
No, I just saw that, and I don't know what that means. But also, it didn't say anything about it in the slides. So I don't know. There's also, if you need to use like the optional work tags like class, assignee, experiential learning, those are in this additional work tags box. So if I need to add any of those, that's where you find them. It's just in the additional work tags. Anything else that I've missed? Any lies that I told? Okay.
What's the cost center again? Is it different on the top and the bottom?
Oh, the fund. Thank you. So I do need to put in my balancing fund. It's not going to like that. So they say you can just pick from your debit. So I am going to put in the fund FD01 up here in this one right here. And you do have to put it up, you do have to put something in there or it will spit back at you. Thank you. Okay, and then the other thing is that you have to add your attachment or it won't let you go. So on this, so right now we're looking at journal entry lines. And if I click over onto this tab for attachments, then you can drag and drop or select your file or whatever. Just between these two tabs, journal entry lines and attachments. So right now we're looking at the journal entry lines, and you'll just pop over to attachments and add that in there. And then we can hit submit. Maybe we'll see if I got it, if I get any alerts. Okay, yay. And then it will go for approval. So this one's gonna go to Jason to look at.
Memo, you could be, memo might be, but I think you.
Okay. So then this shows you just the list of different journal statuses. A lot of them are pretty self-explanatory, but when you create it, it's in the created state. When it's being approved or waiting to be approved, it's in progress. Once it has been approved, it will go to posted. And then there's like a few others, but I honestly don't know how often you'll see them. I think you'll mostly see created, in progress, and posted.
Did you want to talk at all about the saving a journal entry for later?
Oh, there is a save for later button, but I would use that with caution. In my experience, save for later means save for never, and unless you have the number like written down, there's not like a queue for you to be able to like find my save for later transactions. If you have the number, you can put it in the search bar and find it again. But anyway, that's been my experience with save for later, is use with caution, write down your number. Yeah.
So I noticed on occasion we'll post something to the wrong operating unit, and now there's an unposted or a canceled. Do we have to go in and fix that by doing another journal entry, or can we just go in and unpost or cancel?
I am not 100% sure, but my guess is that financial services is who will control that unposted and canceled. So I would guess you would make another journal entry. Anyone else? Has anyone heard anything about that?
That was kind of my understanding as well. You just make a corrective journal entry to offset those.
Yeah. I think financial services will control those other ones.
Oh, I didn't have an answer, but I had a question. Can you copy one to like make a new one with the same information?
Yes, I think you can. Let's try it. Well, mine's not. Jason, do you mind approving mine?
I did.
Oh, yay. So this is another, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this is a task that or something I think is helpful. If you're trying to find a transaction that you have saved, then you can come over, so this little tray, my tasks, and then archive will show you things that you have saved or submitted. So then that will help me find the journal entry that we just made. And Janice is wondering if we can copy this journal entry. Yes, is the answer. So then I could change my external reference ID. take that off if I want.
Okay, wait, how did you do that?
So I went into the journal and then I'll just click cancel. So I'm back to my journal that Jason approved for me. So now I'm looking at the journal that I just made to move my shirts. And then this little related actions button, you'll see it on like all of the different screens for Workday, but if I click on there, then it's going to bring up this little pop-up window. And then under that first journal, whoops, I can hit copy. So then I can make my adjustments and hit OK.
Right there.
Oh, I need to add an attachment before I can submit this, but. Okay. Anything else on journal entries in the system? Okay. So they've also made a template, a spreadsheet template like we have today. It doesn't look the same as we have today, but they still made a new one. I think there's pros and cons to both, like doing it within system and doing it outside of the system in the spreadsheet. I think if you are uploading like something massive and you're copying and pasting, like could be a lot of value to the journal entry. You can also submit multiple journal entries at the same time using this new template, and so I can see a lot of use cases for that. However, if you're just like doing a quick little move like I just did for moving shirts, uploading the template can be kind of cumbersome. So honestly, I think it would be a little faster if you're just doing one quick 2-line entry to just do it in system. That's the world according to Whitney, so do with that what you will. I don't think everyone has access to this template yet. Is that true? So you can just follow along with me, I think, is how they were going to do this part. That's how I'm going to do it. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And I've put some stuff in here. I did just want to show you that this clear template macro is good. Again, I can see a use case for it. However, if you don't mean to click it, everything goes away and there's no like Control Z. So if you don't actually want to clear it, don't push that button. Okay, so this over here from row or column K over to A, this is the header. So this is what we filled out first, that first part when we did it within Workday. So I'm going to put my journal entry here, number here. So that one, this is how we can upload multiple journal entries on the same template. So that's what we just told it. And then I'm going to put the date. And then it's going to default quite a bit of the header information for us. So it's got the JE campus, the company, the actuals ledger, the common book, USD. This external ref ID, again, that's what they're wanting us to use, the net ID and the year and the month and the day, and this is my third journal entry today. And then the header memo, we're gonna move Jason's meal to correct the cost center. This JE total amount, that is a calculated field, so you don't need to worry about that one either. So now that I have these details in, if I'm like, man, this is taking up so much real estate, I have to scroll so much, you can uncheck the show header details and it will just scrunch it up for you if you'd like. So then, now I'm on my line levels, and again, because we have the ability to do multiple journal entries on the same template, I need to tell it which journal entry I'm making. So I'm going to put a 1 there. And then this is the driver work tag. So they're all in one group. So this is your project, your cost center, your activity, whatever driver work tag you're using. And you can just start typing and it will find it. So I'm gonna go to this cost center. And then this is the account and the spend category all in one. And I actually prefer how this is set up in here as opposed to the one online because you cannot have a mismatch. But the gotcha here is that you want to pick the account that has a spend category with it. So if I look up material, or I guess I said I was moving food. So if I look up, well, I'll show you materials first. So if I look at materials, you can see here, this one just has the account without the spend category. And I don't think you're going to want to pick that very often. I think you're going to want to pick like animal supplies or art supplies or food and beverages or whatever. So if we're moving Jason's meal, then we're going to pick food and beverages. So that has the account and the spend or revenue category depending on what you're doing all in one. But I like it with the descriptions, especially because they're all new for us. We're not following the same numbering thing. But if you get used to it and you feel like this is too wordy and messy, you can take the descriptions off of the work tags. But anyway, so this is my line level. We're gonna move the Red Robin lunch, and it was $56. And this is that intra-campus again, so there's just the yes, no. And then on here, if I had one of the optional work tags like class or assignee or something, then I can tell it to display optional work tags and it will throw them on there and I can enter them from there. But I'm just going to go ahead and take that off for now. So then I'm going to make the second leg of my entry. Okay, and then just for proof of concept, I'll just show you. So I don't know if y'all noticed, but that one over here used to be kind of a pink color, and it's because my amounts didn't match. I had something going on, like it wasn't correct. But now that I have all my information filled in and the totals match, now it's not pink anymore. So I'm just gonna add a second one, and I need to date this on the 18th. And again, it's going to default things for me, and then I'm going to use most of that number, and I'm going to move, I don't know, we're going to move just like some paper, some office supplies. Okay, so then you see how that's pink because it's saying, hey, you say there's a second journal entry, but then you don't have any lines for it. Never fear, I'm going to put them in right now. So I'm even going to put 2 so that this goes with the second one. I'm going to move it from here. I'll make it a different one. Okay, see, and now see how that's pink because it's saying, hey, this second entry that you put in, it doesn't match. So then I'm gonna fix that. And then it says, oh, you did it, perfect. Okay, now this part, this is hot off the press as of this morning. The template wasn't letting you upload them, like they were having problems in 10 and 11, but then Rebecca just said, so we're gonna test it out together to see if it works. So I'm just gonna validate first and see if I've got anything. Seems to be good. Okay. So, I think I need to save my entry. And then we're gonna go back into Workday. And I actually haven't done this very much, so we're gonna try this together. So we need to do launch integration. And then I want BYU import EIB journal. Okay. Run
This is the step that makes it not so user-friendly.
Yeah, this is like the Excel part is like kind of fun, but then this is the part that's like wah wah. Okay. So
Are you on a page on this worksheet that we can follow? On the Schedule 3? I mean, on the...
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think so, unless there's one at the back. Actually, I haven't seen what the activity guide looks like. We are on. Yeah, I don't think I put the spreadsheet on your activity guide. I think because I haven't given access to the spreadsheet to everyone. So this is just a demo, sorry. Okay, so we just did this part and now we need to select create integration attachment. Okay, and now I need to pick my file.
I think that there is a journal template on your everybody's desktop.
Oh, is there?
If they want to, it may not let them upload it, but if they want to go in and.
Oh, okay.
It may not be the latest version, but it'll be pretty
Something
close.
similar? Okay, Jeff is telling me that on your desktop you should be able to find the spreadsheet if you want to play with it. It might not let you upload it, but you can mess around in the template if you want to. Okay. But okay. Okay to initiate upload. Okay, so now it's working on uploading it, so then you can see right now it has like 0 processing time, but if I hit refresh, we're 82% of the way there, which is this one, this screen. Two errors, oh no. A processing fault occurred generating the spreadsheet.
That doesn't work.
Okay. The work tab. Okay, so it looks like they're still having maybe a few problems. So anyway, otherwise I think it would give us a success. But that's the last of their things. So, and then I can't remember at what point, does anyone remember at what point it requires you to put an attachment for the EIB uploads?
It's after it's successful.
Okay.
You have to go into it gives you something on your to-do list. You go into that and then you upload it from there.
Okay, so did everyone hear Jason? So after you upload it and it's successful, it will give you a to-do list item to add your attachment for your documentation for the spreadsheet. That way. Okay. That's all I had. Is Ryan here to do budgets?
Should we do the activity first?
The
4.1
activity
county journal?
Okay, yeah. If you didn't make one with me and you want to make a journal entry, go ahead and make one just in the Workday, or you can play with the template if it is on there.
Wait, can you show us again how we find an old journal entry to copy it?
Yes. So if you go into this little tray, the My Tasks tray, up in the top right corner by your picture.
Wait.
Right here.
Is it with your cursor or are you showing? Oh yes, right there, okay.
And then if I click into there, gives you a screen like this, and then over on the left sidebar, there's an archive. And the archive will show you anything that you have like submitted. And then it should show, so you can see I tried to make like that EIB upload. But then it should just have a list of anything that you've worked on. And then you can click into the journal from there.
If you can't find it there, you can also search find journals, and there's
True.
more advanced searching you can do to find.
That's a very good point. So if I come to find journal, there's this report here. And then you'll put in whatever information you want to search on. So I could pick a couple years or just 1 year. Maybe I just want to look in October. And you could keep narrowing it down, just the actuals ledger. You could go down to dates, or I could just leave it pretty wide open.
Will this only find ones that have been approved?
No, good point. So see this status column? This one's showing in progress. So this one for 9,500 for PP&E that someone made or is working on is testing, Andrew's testing, or is going to approve it. That one's in progress.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so we finally, it took us a minute to find the journal, but now we find it. How do we copy it?
So the related actions, the three little dots up at the top.
There's 2 different places that shows up. This one here in the archives.
Okay, yep, so
here's the
then,
journal.
so we need to like click into the journal, I think, but if you scroll up a little bit. And then click on the,
Oh, click that.
the journal number, one of those journal numbers that should top us into the journal.
Okay.
And then, by the magnifying glass, the three
There.
dots. And then journal. And then copy.
Okay, that's what we're reading. So from here, you clicked on the link, and then it brought you to the journal entry, then you went to next to. But that was hard to see.
Yeah, the three little dots they're elusive at times.
But can you edit it instead of just copying it straight up? Will it let us,
Yeah,
when we
so
say
once you
copy?
hit OK, it's gonna make you put in your date first. But once you hit OK, you could like change like the driver works tag
Because if
or.
you just want to like change it to name.
Yeah. So it's gonna say you need an attachment.
Okay.
You don't have to fix one.
Okay, so
But then now you
edit
can
it.
go in and do
That's
what
what
you
I
need.
wanted to.
Yep.
No, it's fine. Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
On the manual, or on the template,
Yeah.
is this automatically assigned, or do I need to just assign something here?
So that's kind of optional, just like it is in the spreadsheet template today, where it's off on the side, that same reference column. So you can, if you want to, if you
Okay.
So this is the same like reference I need in the workday that when we were looking at journal entries.
I guess I can.
And it was on the line level, that will go to the same field. So if you are using those on the line, great. If you're not,
Then don't worry about it.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, send it to.
Yeah, scary.
When you hit copy, and you'll see something pops up. Mr. Abbott first, and then say, okay, and you'll get an error because you haven't added it to attachment. It's as a date, and I'll show you what the job description.
Oh, I guess
There's your thing that's populated. You can just see that same error because you need to add an attachment before you submit it. And you can go change the line. You want to change that upper right hand, you know how we put the number right there, you want to change that to the number next to it. That was not my first one. That showed.
Yeah.
The customer accounts are pretty simple, it's in those things.
I'm trying to figure out the progress. Okay.
Do you want me to send you
Yes. I thought they were in here. We found, well, could we not find them in here?
I have my computer plugged in. I'll send them to Sean and then they'll show up in his chat. So I'll just.
All right. Oh, wait.
And then I get them, so yeah, so when you guys do it, I have to go through and make sure that it's done.
You had already done three. You had already done 1 and 2 in there, so we started on.
That's fair.
Bob, what are you doing?
Customer accounts and invoices.
Hard to change the currency on that. You know, I noticed.
Just like his personal chat.
Is this his personal chat?
No, it's a meeting chat, but if you go down to here and then I think it should show that I chatted him if you go. Oh, it doesn't even show. So strange. I definitely just sent him a chat. Okay, well, we can just plug my computer or I can join the meeting again.
Yeah, I should have brought that, I apologize.
Oh, no, you're good. Will you go back into the meeting and then invite back in? If you click people and then yeah, just that top one and then request to join and then
Did you find it?
Or is it? Or like,
in front of here. So then to control the slides, you'll have to use this on here, yeah.
So, how do I?
So then if you need to like forward, when you want to forward it, you just gotta do it off of this.
Gotcha. Which one? I'm sorry.
This one right here.
How do I make this?
That's just sharing like the
Yeah.
teams, but it's on my computer. So anyway, if you can just advance here.
Thank you, Whitney. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So on I did a journal entry, but it came through in Great British Pounds. And so here I'm trying to change this. And I put, well, how did I choose to use? I got when I clicked here.
Yeah, that's gonna take this.
to say how.
All right, are you guys ready to jump into customer accounts? How many of you actually send invoices to people? Okay, this is a pretty slick, easy way to send invoices to people. You guys ready to do customer accounts? So I think the easiest way to do this, probably as we go through the slides, be in the testing instance and do what we talk about. Search for a customer, prepare an invoice, all of that kind of stuff, and you'll basically be doing what the activity is. Does that make sense? All right. All right, if you go into your search bar, you can search for a customer. Pretty simple. You can go to the search bar and you can say customer, colon, and then you can put in a name. So for our activity, the name is Denny's. So if you search customer, colon, Denny's, you should see Denny's pop up. This is how you search for customers that are in the system. I assume that when we talked about suppliers on Tuesday, that's one of the ways, well, not suppliers. I'm not sure how to get people into the system, customers into the system. But as you pull up the customer, you see there's multiple tabs you can look at the bottom of that customer. You can look at their summary, you can look at their address, contacts, all that kind of stuff. You guys see that? Did everybody get to Denny's? All right. And just as you know, as you prepare an invoice in this system, the invoice is created and it'll go to the cost center manager to approve before it goes out. To create a customer invoice is pretty simple. So you go up into your search bar up at the top, or there's probably an app on the side, but you can go up into the search bar at the very top, type in create customer invoice. Or there is a, once you guys are there, create, yes. Create customer invoice, and then you want to select create customer invoice under the tasks. And so for purposes of our activity here, we're going to go back to Denny's again. So we're going to create an invoice for Denny's. So does everybody have an invoice up? All right. Then what you do is select, you put in Denny's as the bill to customer. Put today's date as an invoice date, or you can put whatever date you'd like. If the invoice is for services performed, you can put in the beginning and the end date of the services, or the beginning and the end date, what you're paying for or what you're charging them for. The payment terms usually autofills but can be adjusted. You can also enter a PO number if need be. Then you want to put some sort of a description in the memo line. Any questions about it so far? It's a pretty simple system. You need to ensure that the appropriate currency is selected. So if you want to be paid in what you know, Japanese yen or anything like that, you can select a currency. There is a line there for control total. That's not required because you're going to put individual detail into the system, into the invoice after this, and that will auto-populate the control total. So you don't need to put anything in the control total. All right, if you scroll down, you see where you can enter the specific items. Everybody got that? Fairly simple. You can select the specific sale items, and you need to select your revenue category, etc. You can edit the line item description as needed. So what you're going to do, you could put into the sales item, our activity says an advertising project, but you guys can put whatever you want. Enter advertising project as the line description. You can put whatever quantity you would like. And then as you scroll over, there's also a unit price. And that extended, and then it creates the total of your invoice, and every time you add a line to this invoice, it's going to update the control total at the top. Now you need to enter a cost center. You see that? You want it, or did one auto, when I was playing with this the other night, it kind of auto-populated to this. So it's like they built this, for some reason it auto-populated with the School of Communications. You can change that if you want. Make it one of your own. Make yourself a little money. Today. Athletics. Or if you just want to put athletics, revenue share. We're going to need a revenue center for that, Jeff. Can you put that in there? So there's your customer invoice, and then it's as simple as clicking and to submit that. And once you click submit, it goes into to the desktop or the queue of the cost center manager. Now we have two options once you've created this invoice, and once it's been approved, you can print a PDF copy and you can mail it, or you can print a PDF copy, or you can email a PDF copy directly to the customer. Any questions about creating an invoice?
Why did the two quantities multiply?
What are the two quantities? What do you mean?
They're well, okay, if I put in two quantities, quantity 1 and quantity 2. This one, they multiply. Like it's taking 5 times this times this equals this.
That is an interesting question.
I know, that's why I asked.
So quantity 1, quantity 2.
It's multiplied this times this times this to get this amount.
No, I honestly didn't play with the quantity 2, so so it looks like it did the same thing.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that one. Again, when I was playing with it, I didn't enter anything in quantity 2. If I wanted to add another line, I just added another line to the invoice.
Well, originally I thought it was the quantity and the price.
Right.
And then I saw price. Wait, what?
No, that's a great question. So maybe that's a great question for, well, the next training. The SRM training, or I'll explain all that later. Okay, once you've created an invoice, you are able to actually adjust that invoice as well. So go up into your search bar. Go up into your search bar on the main page and you can click customer, or you search for customer account. You can search for customer account, or you can go back up and you can hit customer : Denny's. And then there's the ability to navigate to invoices and payments tab when you see Denny's. Yes. So I guess that's down, it's down below most of the screens. And once you have done that, you can click something called related actions. Do you guys see where you can see, do you see related actions once you pull up that invoice?
We can just find the one that we just did.
Yeah, you can find the one you just did, or you can find any of the invoices.
Okay.
Any of the invoices is fine.
Yeah. How many times would you want, did you want, like, yeah, I just for one time, that one's even, it's one of the two, which is line, so it's just one time. You put like Oh, so oh, where? I want to know where. It's an error for line, so I went back down and did one.
So you guys able to find an invoice to adjust? And you can see what you can adjust. You can adjust the dollar amounts. You have to provide a reason for your adjustment.
So we want to get you to the customer then,
Yeah, I believe so. And once you've made your appropriate adjustments, you've added your description and the reason for the adjustment, you can press submit again. And then if you go back to the invoice, you'll actually see your original invoice as well as a line for the adjustment.
Okay, I'm not, where do you put the adjustment? The first one. So you actually, okay, this is, oh, it's, I put one. I think if you put one in there, it goes back to one. Adjustments, you have two more, well, no, because the first is how many things I decided I wanted to do. Are we going to be the first one? Did you just order one?
I need to.
Oh, and they said to include that, and then one is the one.
Okay, so we're done here.
Oh, sorry, this is coming on, it's this one.
That's what I just wanted the truth to come out, that was the test, you passed it. I get it. I just wanted to see how the truth going were. You passed.
I just won't be ordering till like today. I just have to.
I mean, I can do others and I can just.
You guys have any questions? Ms. Ryan?
I have a question.
Yes.
You have two quantities there, and we're just kind of wondering.
What's that?
Howdy, Brian.
I was just curious about.
Hey.
Did you try to contact me?
I did, well, I texted you.
Yeah.
Well, I was just coming to see if you were coming. I texted you to see if you were coming, so I was gonna see.
Wish you would have my phone.
And then invoice them. And
You'll have to tell me.
I was just curious.
Oh, your amount. I have.
Or maybe as far as I was.
Oh,
Okay.
I know that.
I think this is mine, because mine was number 110.
Yeah.
I like it in so I adjustments.
So do you highlight your line, your invoice?
No, I just went under her actions and then it's.
How do you know which invoice is choosing to?
I'm assuming it's gonna be in this list, so I haven't looked at it yet. Oh, it's making an adjustment to the account. It's not making an adjustment.
So I can.
Which is nice.
Oh, I bet, I know that number goes well.
So are you guys still playing with invoices? So Whitney, we are waiting for Ryan to do budget adjustments?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are, Ryan, sorry.
If you're ready.
Yes, I'm gonna return Whitney's.
Yeah. When we do go through the demo really quick, you might have some of mine come up. You have the Excel spreadsheet on your thing.
The journal entry spreadsheet?
That's a journal
Yeah.
entry.
No, the budget one.
I don't know if did they send it like an English or something?
Well, I think
I haven't-
go out and get it under.
I think I saw an email from Joel this morning
Oh, this morning.
with the
about it?
budget process,
It did,
but
it's under, if you
go to 8, I think there's something. We just got
So I'm not, I haven't played with the budget spreadsheet yet for.
So if I can log in.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm updating this invoice, it's telling me to taxes are updated, tax numbers. Where is it?
I know it was.
Yeah, so you can just share off of here if you want, and then the template's just under Excel. Except Humana kicked me out.
I was gonna say, it looks like it's coming
On
up.
there, but not on here. That is so strange.
Oh.
It won't
I
let me
wonder if we unplug. It won't
Must
let
be
you.
just Steve.
Yeah.
Because it's not connected to. It looks like I'm sharing in the meeting. Oh, you know what? Click on Teams here. And then there. And now it will be okay. But then to change your slides, you're going to have to use my computer. And then the template is on here. This is just for the Teams meeting, but yeah, you can just use mine for the slides and then your budget templates in Excel.
Perfect. And then how about Workday? Do you have Workday out?
Yes.
I'm not sure what quantity.
Right there. Perfect.
That could be a system issue because we're in an old system. So if you hit submit, it should still go.
I don't know.
Nice. See how well they work, but can't get into them. How's everybody doing over here? We ready to move on?
What page are you on?
Just messing around.
Of this one that says, remember my part one? Yeah, we did it. I've been practicing.
Good.
A million times.
Awesome.
Budget tuition, I'm not good to go. I'm not good to go. I need this one.
Okay, we're doing budgets.
We need to lower the amount.
Yeah, it's complete behind the. It just says change.
Everybody over here ready? Okay. Everybody here ready, or you need some more time?
We have a question, but you will get it here.
Okay.
You know.
What is it on?
It's this, we're trying to, this last step on here is to create a creditor. I have to go up here to that, and it says, hover over customer invoice, and find create adjustment. Credit it and increase the amount. It is an invoice, but it doesn't allow us to credit it. Anyway. We can just go back and say, if you want to see credit. When I went under, the more options and it said an adjustment, I could just create a credit. Oh, really? And it wasn't specific to an invoice. Okay. What was it again? I went under, so I went into the list of, into the account itself. Go to Denny's. Go to Denny's. I'm sorry, I gotta have my glasses so I can see. And then I went to the, so you can see the list of invoices. Yeah, and then you pick yours.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Denny's. So then I'm just going to list of invoices. Okay. And then under more action. Look there, and then there's create adjustment. No, I didn't pick an invoice, I just went in and there's a place where you can just tell it you want to create adjustment. You just create it as a credit, so here it's in created. So which, where? Okay, I'll show you, Laurel. So that's not right then. It's okay, invoices and payments. Invoices and payments. Sorry, go to the right here. Yeah, you should, because it's not, that homework isn't, no, it's not marked right on there. We found it. It's more action. She found it under that. But how would you know which invoice is yours? There were so many there. You had to write the invoice number down, which is so built so she could just search by ones you know. So I have to put all this together, yeah.
There is a different way too, if you find it on the list and click the thank you column.
Right there on the list?
Yeah, if you,
Okay.
right here. This was mine, click that, and then customer invoice and change.
Does that allow you to credit?
No, but now.
What are we trying to do to credit?
Yeah.
We found it, did you see how we found it? Okay.
Yeah, the problem though is that's not crediting that invoice.
Oh, at least credit is customer.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, we want to know how to credit that invoice.
If you go into related invoices, you try the, oh, it was them.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, related. That one.
Change seems like you are changing.
What do you do?
Where regular entry.
I remember when.
Or just that part of it.
Okay,
Right.
I wonder if we go to the notes that we have in our training, we'll probably do more.
I wonder if we have,
I don't know, see, so I don't see anything you can do.
I think Whitney's got it. She doesn't have proxy access.
Okay, it should be calling you,
So like on
Jason.
the worksheet activity, you won't be able to do anything because she can't see all the different plan structure.
When you go into
But I'm logged in
create
as
it,
Joel here.
you can see the plan structures. It's like I could come into operating, but then the companies don't have any items. So it's like a rights issue, but Jason can proxy as
Oh,
Joel,
okay,
so
yeah.
you could demo it on there.
Yeah, how did we get this one wrong?
So
we just
then
put
he's
this
calling,
one.
it should be calling Jason. and then I'll leave the meeting.
Oh, that's good to know. That would have been. So there's the slides, and then. Do you have the Excel spreadsheet? I don't have the Excel spreadsheet.
I can get it to you.
Just go.
Could you by chance, can I just see this paper? I've
Oh,
lost
yeah,
it.
I
Okay,
took yours,
all
didn't I?
right.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Here, Jason, I can just send it to
Teams
you.
it to me?
Yeah.
You have to do it first.
Okay, this should be in your chat.
This is your pen.
More actions.
And then you do.
Sweet time.
It literally just says the word doesn't exist.
Right, there's the template. Okay, perfect. I've got the browser open to Workday. Okay, so it's just showing you.
Okay, if we pay for it.
Oh, yeah, I need to share a screen.
Sorry, I need
Okay, perfect. Okay. Oh, and my batteries. I wonder if we can switch these out. Okay, we ready to do budgets? Okay. So, budgets, we're gonna go through that. There is some interest, this is really weird to have two sides. I'll just stand right here. So, I just went out to Boston and was out there for a while. We got to learn about pilgrims and patriots, and so I was in a CPE training, and they had a joke in there, and it says, "Who leads accountants to battle?" And it's the general ledger, right? So, thinking of General Washington and others and the battles they had out there, we're told with budgets that with PeopleSoft, they used to be a part of the general ledger, but they've revolted now, so they're not under the general ledger anymore. It's under this thing called plan. And so we're going to talk about plan and what that means and the structure of it. And one of the things that just to be aware of, and that I wasn't aware of this when we went through training, right now we're just training you on how to do budget amendments. There's a new module that's called adaptive planning. I reached out to Joel to find out when that's supposed to come out. I thought I heard him say next year they're going to do the adaptive planning and budgeting. And that will actually do most of your planning up front that'll be submitted in the initial part of the budgeting. And so I think that's a module that they're going to wait and do a little bit later. They just did send us, maybe it's from my email I sent out, but we did get stuff from the controllers today about the process that's going to happen this year to get put in. So really what we're talking about as far as budgets is just kind of the structure of it. The only process that we're really going to go over is budget amendments and how you do that. They do have in the thing, they have a budget amendment that you can do inside the system. They also have an Excel spreadsheet, which we used to always use. I don't know if everybody in auxiliaries used the spreadsheet, but that's how we used to get our budgets in. And so I'm guessing that's probably what we'll use to submit our initial budgets this year. But budgeting, as Joel said, is the most exciting part of all of this training. So you guys all excited? He was just joking. Okay. So let's first of all learn about the budget and the structure. Like I said, it's really in Workday called planning or plans. And so it starts out, and to me, I'd put this slide a little bit differently. It's kind of a hierarchy thing. So it starts out with plan types. And the main one that you're really going to be dealing with is financial. The rest of them just kind of have to do awards, has to do with grants, contracts, projects have to do with projects. And then the one that says position there, I don't know exactly what that means, but they said we don't currently have that, so we're not going to be using projects or position. And so don't necessarily worry about it now, but it might be something they implement a little bit later. And then plan structure, it's kind of a way that things are grouped. And it sounds like it's somewhat complicated in here, but it makes it so that the way that it gets reported and how it's organized inside Workday, they had to break out operating and capital. And so it has an operating budget, and that's where all of your income and expenses are going to be. The majority of stuff that you've done in the past is all in the operating. Capital is just for asset and then balance sheet stuff. So I guess auxiliaries, we do a lot of stuff with budgeting and I think that just started 2 or 3 years ago, at least for us, budgeting at the balance sheet level for cash and different things like that. So that's what that'll be used for. The parent in there is just some way to group those two together. And so all that parent piece is to be able to do stuff in reporting. So it's not something you'll necessarily have to choose in there. But it will be useful as far as grouping the two together when we do reporting. And then you've got awards and projects. Again, those are just the hierarchy under the plan types, project, and awards up above. Plan templates. These are predefined formats and guidelines for creating budgets. So mainly with this one is you'll have a plan template for each company and year. And so, and for each structure. So if you have operating and capital, and then you can see there the examples they gave is we have BYU is the main one that we'll be doing our budgeting on or our planning on, is the BYU operating and the BYU capital, and then it'll be a year. So there'll be a year in there. And so there'll be, you'll see as we get into it, there'll be a bunch of companies. Each one of them have an operating capital, and then they'll have a year on them. And so this will just kind of be, these plan templates will kind of roll from year to year. And then amendment types are really kind of like when they had in PeopleSoft scenarios, different scenarios that you could do. And so the different types of amendments that they have that you'll put into the system is a current year amendment. So current year is anything that you want changed in the budget for that year. A permanent amendment is something you might want to change that'll affect next year or ongoing years. So it's more permanent. It's not just a budget for this year. And then project amendment, awards, again, those are just kind of ones that flow up to the hierarchy of the plan type, award, and project. And they'll be, really, as you look at it, you'll see it that when you go to the awards module, when you go to the project modules, you'll see in there that they've connected those to these planning types. And so that's why they have those. There's 2 amendment types that we need to make sure, and there could be a test question on this, so be aware of this, that are only for central use only. So you got the allocations amendments. So those are just things that they allocate down to the different organizations, and that's really just used by central budgeting, and an original amendment. An original amendment, from what I understand, is basically the first budgeting upload for the year. And so there could be stuff we do with the original amendment, but I'm not exactly sure what this adaptive planning thing is and how that is. We haven't been trained on that yet. So things to come.
Question though, I mean, so what is the overall statement you're saying? We don't use those 2 very much, or what's the?
Yeah, on here it basically says it's for central use only. So like I said, I don't know exactly the original amendment, if they're the ones that are going to be the ones uploading that, and it's from this adaptive model,
again, we're kind of trying to learn what's going on there and what we're going to do for this year. And I guess we just got an email that will be a little more specific on that. Any questions about the structure of planning? Okay. Whoop. So when you get into it, and we'll do a little demo of this, when you go into create a budget, you'll type in the search menu, create budget amendment. It'll pull up a budget amendment. You click on that, and then this is just kind of what you'll see. And you'll select the organization, you'll select the plan structure, the company, and the plan name. These populate existing budget lines. Not exactly sure if one of the other controllers, but basically when they trained us, they said, just leave those ones blank. So you can see here where it says populate existing ones, we'll just leave those blank for now. So we're just gonna fill out the top 4. And that kind of creates kind of the header information. And then you'll go in and you'll click the date that you want this amendment. Again, we're just talking about amendments. You'll enter a description of the amendment, and then you'll select the amendment type, whether that's current year, permanent, project, sponsored. I think for most of us in here, we're just going to be doing current year amendments. We don't really have unfortunately, we don't get budget that rolls over the next year, unless some people do. I don't know, maybe some people on here do, but we don't.
We're not having any luck getting that on. We
Yeah,
can't pick
y'all
an
have
organization.
access. Lindsay said that she would send out an email when they granted that, but so that's still being built. But Ryan, when he can show, he'll do a demo.
Yeah, I'll do a demo here.
But,
So it's not working for you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who in here deals with budgets? A lot. Yeah, a lot of the controllers. Okay, good. So it sounds like they'll get you on those, and then I can start having Donnie do the budget stuff. She's like, no, don't add me. Okay, I think this will be a little bit more clear when we actually get into it. I think they're just trying to show the different screens, but let's just get in and demo it. Oh, before we do, let's talk about approval routing. So as you guys know, there's cost center managers in a lot of these things, finance business partners. If this is just kind of the approval routing, if one of the business partners submits a budget amendment, it automatically just goes to the budget office. If it gets done by an operational specialist, it kind of follows through where each one of these will do the approval before it ends up going to the budget office. So that's kind of the approval routing that they have for planning. Okay, let's do a example here. Okay, so if you just type in, it sounds like some of you aren't getting this, but if I hit create budget, I'm going to click this for organization. Oh, yeah, I was expecting mine here.
That's okay, you got more than the rest of us.
Yeah.
We don't have any.
Let's see if we can get.
I have one, it's called air.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Those are fun to. Let's see if it'll pull mine up.
Oh, can you search it by task there?
Who did you say this one was? This is Joel's? Not sure why it's not pulling up.
I think if you do the create budget amendment without organization, you don't have to fill that household in. That's helpful.
Okay, we'll try that.
Yeah, don't know, because the notes say to follow that other one, I don't know.
Well, and ours doesn't have that other one on it. I put create budget amendment.
It just, yeah, mine does the same thing, it doesn't have, my login, it only has the one, so. Well, we'll just pick one of them here. Where's the president's budget? We'll pick the first one on the list. University shared. Okay. Okay, so plan structure in here, what do we pick? We want to use operating, should be BYU.
Word is plan structure is what it says on here.
Yeah, I saw consolidated. Oh, right here, consolidated budget operating.
Yes.
Okay, and then this is just showing, we're gonna do 23, 24, well, I can do 24, but when I did it on mine, it didn't really like it. Yeah, you get an error, so we're gonna do 23, I don't know why, we're still in 23 for this, I guess. Okay, again, you don't have to fill out any of those existing lines. And then you're done, just submit it. No, just kidding. We got more to do. Okay, and here you can just put a date, and then you put a description. I'm just gonna put adjust cost of goods sold to supplies. And we can see if we can do that with this one. And then again, which amendment type are we picking here? Whoops, I highlighted it for you. Current year, okay, good. Okay, this button here is a balance amendment. You'll click on that if you want your entries, your line entries to balance, meaning whatever you're putting in, you're taking out so it comes out to zero. And so operating budgets, that's the way everything should be. There should, you know, maybe in some of the capital budgets there wouldn't be, but in operating budgets should be balanced. So you'll click on that.
And Joel said that when we go live, that'll be a default, so you won't have to check it. You'll have to uncheck it if you don't want it.
Yeah, and I thought, yeah, that's what I thought when he was doing it, was checked, so. Okay, period, we'll do October of 23. So on here is where you add lines. So you just push this little plus or minus button and it'll add lines to it. And then you'll pick, like I was gonna do 4,900. So you pick your account. Now I wish they'd be a little more consistent with how they do work tags. Every single thing shows it differently. And so I don't know why they did it that way. Like sometimes it's the driver tags, sometimes the driver tags are all split out. This one, all the tags are in one field. And so it's a little confusing that way. That's one of the reasons why the spreadsheets can be a lot better, because they have that all split out. So I think the spreadsheet ultimately is going to be a better way to do it. They just wanted us to show you how you could do it in here if you wanted to. But you can see in here you'll have to go in and choose your cost centers, your activities, your whatever other things you have on here, and the fund and program, which should automatically, when you get in here, should automatically default when we choose one of these. So. And now I don't remember what activity I picked. We'll see if it comes up as the first one. Oh, there's too many results to pull up activities. That's an interesting. Yes, we're going to give budget to the office of the president. I don't know if it's going to throw that off, because in the header I picked a different activity. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but so you can see there the fund automatically came up, and so did the program. in the spreadsheet, remind me if I don't, there's a way to have it pull the fund up automatically so you don't have to go searching for it. You just have to go and hit the button validate and it'll pull the fund up for you. So at least it did when we were doing our presentation training. So in here they have, if there is a budget already in here that's been uploaded, it'll show you what the current year is, what the current spend is, and what remaining is. So that's these sections here. You can also change it by percentage, or you can just put an amount in. So we're just we're gonna take 5,000 out of the president's, and we're gonna try and put that down to one of our budgets. Anybody want 5,000 from the president? Nobody's saying so. Guess I'll do it. I guess I'll do it to Print and Mal.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if it'll pull our cost center now.
I think I'm confused on all these
CC 10280.
11280.
10280.
102.
No, just one.
11280.
No, just one, number one. 10280.
Oh, 12080.
10280.
Right here. You only use this one.
10280.
With a
Yeah.
CC in it.
No,
I don't think it needs a CC.
Well, it might since it's got
Oh, it
those
does.
others.
Okay, good to know.
Here we go.
Okay. And then again, it's gonna pull up the fund and program for those. Did that pull in? I don't see it.
And that's where, oh, right here.
And then we're gonna do 5,000.
So now two. That one. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so you can save this for later if you want to, or you can submit it. If you save for later, you can go in and you can just hit edit, and edit a budget, and it'll go in and it'll let you find this budget and pull it up. We won't go through that.
I hit submit, but mine says the amendment's not balanced.
Let's see if I get the same one. Yeah, mine is just coming up with some weird error. It might be because I had to pick the different cost center on the initial one.
Oh, you can't go back to
No, I want to go back to the home screen. Oh, let's just save for later.
Spend revenue, so I should put that spend.
Okay, and then once you have those in there, they're gonna get set to the approval routing once you submit it. And then you can go in here and find budget amendments. If you know if you copied and kept track of that number, you can see here, it's just showing you what budget amendments are out there. So that's the process of submitting. But any questions with that? Okay, let's go through the Excel spreadsheet. So the nice thing about the Excel spreadsheet is you can do a lot of different budget amendments. Where you just saw in there, we only got to do one at a time. So the spreadsheet allows you to do multiple. When you do that, these first columns on here are for the header information. So it's kind of that first screen that we filled out. We're doing that here. I'm wondering if I need to do 23. We'll do 23. Oh.
So another two hard day.
Okay, and then when you do that, we're now in the more of the line, the description area. So we had header, and then they call it on here, show the line, budget amendment lines. If you hit that now, it'll have a drop down for that line one. So now what it's doing is just tying this line to the header line. And then on here, they actually have it built out by driver. And so this is nice because you have all of your different drivers in there. You have your cost centers, your activities, you have your projects, your grants and awards and all those right in this one. So now I'm just going to pick offset. Press, we're going to move. We're going to move. Okay, I'm not going to fill out the rated fund because it should fill it out for me. Oh, let's hit enable content. Looks like we're missing something here. So there should be, at least when I was doing it this morning, there's one that you can fill out. You can hit a button up here that'll say spread, and it'll actually spread it evenly across the months. Or you can actually, it looks like some of these are adjusted out, but you can go into the month and just do it there. So they have it where you can just do it in total. Whoops, that was weird. Or you can actually spread it to the months evenly, or you can go in and then you can adjust the months the way you want. So that's the first part of it. So we're going to fill out the next one. Okay, now if I hit this validate journals, it should then, oh, I need to put line descriptions. Yeah, so you can see on here, automatically filled out what the related fund is. So one of the cool things with this is being able to copy and paste. If you have all the different work tags already, you can see this isn't really in a great format for copying and pasting. The way that they do that is these buttons over here, if you unclick this, it's going to put it in a format that you can just now put the codes in. And so if you know what codes you want in there, you can just paste them in there. And so that's just these buttons over here. And I think we might have the old one. I think this is the old spreadsheet. It's not the newer one. Because they had these bugs with the new one. The other thing is like on this one, I actually wanted to use class because I wanted to change it from different. We have our machines that we have in our area set up as classes. So to be able to do that, you click this display optional work tags, And you can go over here and now you can see class here. And I'm just gonna go in here and put, I don't know, this is, in the newer one, it actually has that class a little more descriptive than what we're seeing here, so I think we've got the old spreadsheet. And then what you'll do is you'll upload these amendments. This wants me to pick the errors. So you guys went through this, it's basically the same process as the journal entries. You save the file, you'll go in, it'll actually pull up a little thing after you get done saving it. You'll go in and it'll upload it, and then you go in and you click the, what's it called, validate. There's a little button there that says validate. You go click on that and you go and pick your spreadsheet and you attach it to that validate, and then it uploads it. So let's see if this works. It might not work because it had some errors, but oh, I don't know if, do I have to log in under you or?
Go ahead and click it, I'll do the. I guess I can go SSO.
Oh, yeah, it might recognize you. Okay, so now it's coming into here. You just go in and put your organization. Oh, that's something else. We'll pick, I don't know. It's not pulling up these, but. Okay, and then you just go over this value. And we're gonna create a, what they call it, EIB. I don't know what that stands for, but it's that's what we're creating. Whoever's this is has a lot of stuff on their desktop. I wasn't expecting that, so let's do it by date modified.
It might be in the documents.
I thought I put desktop. There it is. So you can see there's the EIB. We click that, we hit OK, and then it'll upload this. So that's the process of uploading the budget or planning journals. Any questions about budgeting? Okay, it sounds like you're not able to go through that. Did some people try to go through it? You can get into it? Okay. So we'll tell them we tried our best. We'll see if they can get you guys added, and then I suggest maybe going back in later and doing it. Sound good? Okay,
I
yeah.
kind of followed you by using by organization instead of just the top one. And it let me come up with some focus information that would.
Oh, good, perfect, awesome. And so you were able to do a budget adjustment? Good. So yeah, I think what they said is there's a little scan QR code somewhere. Just scan that and tell them you don't have access to budgeting, creating budgets, or whatever the issue is. Okay, thanks, long day.